What is going on, everybody? Anon here. Happy Sunday. It is week 15? 15, 14. Yeah, no, it's 15 in the NFL season, isn't it? Because there's 17 games in a bye. So, yeah, it's fun. The Eagles look like an actual team against the worst team in football today. So I don't know what that means, but we got some snow in the Northeast. That's cool. But let's get into talking about our distribution update for the week. So, let's start with One Piece. So One Piece, and obviously this is Southern Hobbies website. You don't need a login. It's all public. They don't carry One Piece. But we did get our OP14 allocation. It looks like, so the overall print run of OP14 is approximately half of what it was for OP13. Generally speaking, they really amp up the print runs for their anniversary sets, which is your OP13, OP9, I believe. I think it's every 4. So OP17 will be the next one going into 2026. But it looks like we took a little bit of a step forward in spite of the print run being about half what it was for OP13. So we're pretty encouraged by that. It looks like OP14 is a pretty decent set. So we'll see what happens there. EBO3 we did not get our allocation for yet. We are expecting it this week. Hopefully that does not come out until the first week of February. So that is that. Moving on, the third set of Godzilla, just real quick. This is, I guess the order due date has passed. Where is it? BP3? Sorry, I thought the fourth one came out. Never mind. The third one came out, was solicited by a couple folks. What's interesting is, and I just realized this, I don't think I talked about this before, but BPO2, which is the second Godzilla set, they have a serialized card, and there's only 100 of them, I think, across English and 100 across Japanese, I think, on the site. And one of them at PSA 10 sold for like 10 grand, which is really, really interesting to see. Only reason I pointed that out is because I thought it was interesting. And we do have this reprint of the 2 starter decks, which are the starter decks right here that came out at release. So hopefully they're pushing organized play a little bit more, get some juice into this. Moving on to Gundam. Gundam is in a really weird spot because there seems to be product continuing to come to market somewhere for New Type Rising. As far as I know, it's not come from distribution in a while. In fact, I'm really looking forward to speaking to Bandai in a couple months and just asking what their plans are here, because GDO2, the set wasn't super well received. The second wave is hitting distribution either late last week or early this week. So the price of those is down to it's below MSRP at this point for a second set, which is it's a little concerning. Now it is the weak time of year, but given the fact that One Piece is absolutely batshit crazy, one would assume that a little bit of the speculation would carry into Gundam, and it doesn't seem like it's quite doing that as of yet. So yeah, I just want to keep an eye on this, and like I said, I'm going to talk to Bandai when I'm with them in a couple months, just to see where their head's at in this game and what they're trying to do. Because quite honestly, yeah, they have to juice the organized play, and they probably have to tighten up the print runs just a little tiny bit, but we'll see. Riftbound League of Legends, we did get confirmation, I mentioned last week, that the reprint of Origins is coming the week after Christmas. I did get one of my allocations. It looks like it's about half the size of the initial print run, which was 2 waves kind of in one. So initially, Riftbound Origins was supposed to come in 1 wave at release, 1 wave in December. They actually expedited the second wave and pushed that up. So everything, even though it did ship at 2 different times, one shipped a week and a half or so before release, and the other shipped right around release date. What we're seeing now is a true reprint of Origins. I would imagine they're not going to stop here. They're probably going to reprint it again. But like I said, it seems like it's about 50%-ish ballpark of what the initial release was, which quite honestly I don't think is enough to move the needle. Spirit Forge, it looks like the amount of product, and I did get my allocation a couple weeks ago from my OP distributor, and it looks like this is right on par with Origins, with the amount of product coming to market. So it seems like it's doing pretty well. Now the cards are going nuts, speculation wise. But we'll see. Moving on, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with Sorcery Gothic. That's kind of come and gone. It seems like people like the set. We'll see. It looks like the collation is a nightmare. But again, when you have 440 cards and you're manufacturing in China, I mean, first of all, a random distribution of 440 cards is virtually impossible in any of the ways that manufacturing happens and collation happens in the game, and then you move it to China, where quite honestly they don't give a fuck because you're going to pay them anyway, or you're not getting the product. It seems like it's really lumpy. There have been rumors of multiple boxes with no foils, multiple boxes with a ton of foils. It's weird. But again, not my problem. I don't really carry it at this point, other than special order for folks. So it kind of is what it is. I want to go to let's go to Weiss real quick. So Weiss came out with Azure Lane. Came out in November, I think, early November, late October, and I did see a reprint of Wave 1 or of first edition be solicited. I don't know if they canceled or not, because I don't know anybody who actually reprinted it or anyone who actually bought it. But it's just kind of muddling. It does. So with Weiss, you have all this product that comes to market. It pushes down to right around distribution cost. It churns through the market, and then it starts to move up over time. And I mean, Nikki is 12, 14 boxes from being back to $60. Which is exactly what these sets do. The free run reprint just came out at the same point. It was super underordered. In fact, I was talking to one of my distributors, and I was like half of the orders in one warehouse, and it was like 20 cases. It wasn't a lot at all. So it's 20, 15, something like that. So it was really underordered. But Azure Lane, I haven't heard anything about this second wave coming, because quite honestly, I don't think first of all, there's no need. Second of all, I don't know anybody who ordered it, because I mean, it was kind of underwater from the start, which you would expect, because a lot of people would pile on from the last version. So moving on, I want to talk about Magic first, because there's some really interesting things going on here, and hopefully I can capture them all off the top of my head. Avatar has performed okay, not great, not a dumpster fire like Spider-Man has. But it does look like, well, first of all, the last wave of collector boosters looks like they came out last week, shipping this week. I believe that was actually from Southern. Everybody else, to my knowledge, has shipped everything out. So the downward pressure on the collector boxes should be over. Avatar play boosters are still available. So I don't know if there's another wave of those coming. I would imagine there's probably another wave of those coming. I think these guys would reprint them similar to Spider-Man, because quite honestly, they're stupid. And we were scheduled to get Lord of the Rings and Murders of Karlov Manor Commander deck reprints in Q4. In fact, they were scheduled for October and November, and we haven't seen them yet. I don't know if we haven't seen them because these guys think they've nailed their Q4, or if they printed more of the other products, such as Final Fantasy and Bloomburrow, and they didn't have a chance to get these printed in time to get them to us, which I'm not sure is the case. Or, most likely, they are printing the shit out of Lorwyn Commander decks, and I will get to that one in a second, because they, in fact, are. And for those of you who are a WPN, and you got your initial not to be less than allocation or minimum allocation, whatever you want to call it, and you got a secondary allocation, my Commander decks doubled. And I don't know if that's because they just printed that many to the point where all of the smaller stores have gotten what they want, and they just piled a bunch on me. But I've never seen my allocation of any product from Magic double based on what I asked for initially. And, I have an open communication with all my reps where it's like, hey, you get me more, I'll take care of it, or I'll take it. Not a problem at all. Because, obviously I can move it, and I am, pretty sensitive to continuing to amp spend here. So it could be there as well. It could also be the fact that these guys are going to dump a large amount of Avatar play boosters on distribution here right before year end, and print millions of dollars profit and hit their numbers in Q4. So Final Fantasy Holiday seemed like everything's okay. I haven't looked at the prices in these really since I sold them. I kind of expected the Chocobo bundle to be really, really cool, and then just have Amazon dump and dump and dump and dump, and then kind of drive that thing down to, having very little intrinsic value. I do want to mention the Final Fantasy game Commander decks. These things sold like absolute shit. The price point was terrible. It was just under $70 for a reskin of a deck, and I think there's like 20 unique cards, and you get a free copy of Final Fantasy VII Reboot or something, or a code for it through Steam. Quite honestly, it was just a garbage product. And through our store, and these are normally things that like all the nerds would come in and they would eat this up. We've sold 3, and that's trying to sell them at our cost. So it's been an absolute shit show dumpster fire of a product. The rest of the products are moving. The scene boxes are moving. Even the Japanese Chocobo bundles are infinitely more in demand than what the Japanese collector boxes were. Now, again, some of that could be price point too, because it's instead of 600 plus, you're only talking about $100 plus for these. So that's interesting. I think these clowns, the market's gotten their attention. They realize that they fucked up Spider-Man really, really badly. They fucked up Avatar, and quite honestly, they fucked up Edge of Eternities by not including a serialized card in there. Quite simply, it's Occam's razor. The most likely scenario is probably the right one, and they didn't put a serialized card in, so they could just reprint the absolute shit out of all these collector things. And for those of you who don't know, the reason why it seems like collector boxes are coming more and more frequently is because they are. So I actually met my allocation starting all the way back in Tarkir, where the collector boxes to play boxes, they were coming in somewhere around 37.5 to 40%. Now Tarkir was a little bit different. That was my initial allocation. I think that was the first time they allocated play boxes. But then as you move to Final Fantasy, I was like 40%. And then Spider-Man was like 42.5. Avatar was like 45. Lorwyn has been about the same, but the item that has surprised me the most are these gift bundles. And the gift bundles that have a collector pack in, my allocations almost tripled as a percentage of play boxes, because they are just pushing these gift bundles out, the commander bundles, like they're absolute fucking candy. And if you go back to the, I think it was the second video that I did on Hasbro, the most obvious way to push margin and grow revenue is to sell more of your, higher in demand and your higher priced product, which are obviously your gift bundles and your commander decks. And it looks like, or commander decks, your collector boxes, and it looks like that's what they're doing. So it'll be interesting to see how they backfill, because they're going to have to pull back. And I know they have a ton of reprint product that they're going to have to dump the market, but they have some really, really fucking big numbers, earnings numbers going into 2026. Now, Q1 is pretty light, but after that, it's a nightmare. So moving on, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Got my first allocation for this. It seems like it's very, very healthy. Similar to Lorwyn. Now, my reps are telling me that the product itself is shorter printed than Lorwyn. All that tells me is that they're holding it back to try to sell on Amazon. I don't trust anything at this point these guys push, because, look, they're effectively or ineffectively trying to create the perception that the amount of product and distribution is light, so it's short printed, because it's human nature. It's not short printed. They have shit sitting in pallets and warehouses just ready to try to cash in on Amazon. So that's where we're at for Magic. Moving to Pokemon. So I now have 4 allocations for Ascended Heroes, 4 of 7. And there's a lot of product coming. Now, I will mention that most of my allocations are up probably 25 to 50% based on what I saw with Black and White. and then Mega 1, and then Mega 2, specifically with the booster bundles and ETBs. Some of the other items don't translate nearly as well. And that doesn't necessarily translate as well either with black and white because it was 2 different SKUs. And then a couple distributors, I'm up a little bit more than that. So I definitely think there's a lot more product coming. It looks like the market is starting to settle down here, quite a bit, which is good. I mean, it's healthy for all of us. Hopefully it gets to the point where, the artificial demand, aka the scalpers, get out of the market, where people can buy it at MSRP from big box stores if they want to, but they can't immediately flip it and make money. That's kind of like the sweet spot of everything, where you have an equilibrium of supply and demand. Other than that, we see the Mega Charizard tin, the Pokemon Day I think that's allocated to some extent now, but the tins look really, really cool. It looks like we got, here, we got the pin collection and then the Mega Heroes EX box. It looks like we also have a black and white EX box coming at some point. Now, I didn't see that come through distribution, so I am guessing that is going to be Target or Walmart exclusive or something like that, big box exclusive on that one. And then the Mega 3 set. My God, I keep forgetting what this is called, and I don't have my phone here. I mentioned in my video last night, but when the Pokemon Company solicits for organized play, because you have to opt into every pre-release event, they disclose the name of the set, and I'm not even gonna guess, because quite honestly, I forget. But it is not the Emerald whatever. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the reprinting in Q1. It's coming. You don't have to believe me. You'll see it for yourself. But anyway, that's where we're at. The market continues to be really, really healthy. Now, obviously, some of the single prices are pulling back. Some of the sealed prices are pulling back at Pokemon. But let's not forget, this is normal. New price comes out. The price is in the nosebleed section, and it starts to sell off as, the people willing to pay the most for the product, get the product, they're satisfied, and those people drop off the demand list, and then there's new supply coming to the market, which is what we're seeing with the wave thing now. So anyway, guys, any questions you guys have on this, feel free to post in the comments. I'll try to get to them if I can. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a great Sunday.